Hello and welcome to the Living Life Discourse on the Greatest Call channel, the global voice for expanding consciousness. And God is able to bless you abundantly so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. Again, and God is able to bless you abundantly so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. So goes a good old book. So we have nurtured some level of abundance that we so much desire and we would like to sustain till we pass away from this plane. How do we sustain this much needed flow of ease in our lives? In my life, folks, and in your life. That is the central theme for our discourse today. We continue to glean the best knowledge and narratives from the sages, saints, scientists, philosophers, prophets, and poets for the expansion of your consciousness and my consciousness. See, folks, to sustain abundance once nurtured, like we talked about in our previous discourse, which we shall leave the link to be accessed and also at the end screen for your listening and viewing delight. To sustain this level of abundance built by the laws we learned on this channel, it's not hard at all. It is not. And we shall learn that momentarily. Sustenance of abundance is not hard once the fundamental law of nurturing has been grasped and, more importantly, practiced. And of course, we do encourage the latter. We do encourage each of us to practice everything we talk about on this channel to ascertain their real value in our lives, to see if it works, to see if it does work. We practice them daily, and the reason we built this channel is to be the voice for expanding consciousness, giving back the powers to the people, to you and to me, folks, back to us, to know how valuable, how incredibly powerful we are in our being, that a lot of distractions had eclipsed. To sustain one's nurtured consciously, i.e., from the law and again from the law and not just by chance, it's not hard. Because we have already conditioned our minds for abundance and have practiced it at a level that we feel the free flow of everything needed for our blissful evolution. And we would not only want to sustain this, but to increase the plateau. You have a condo, you'll be looking forward to a house, possibly with more bedrooms in a better location. You have it as your daily practice to feed the hungry. Let's say now you're feeding 7 people. You want to make this 70. How do we keep this free flow we have nurtured? This is perhaps the most important question and insight we all yearn for. And for some of us, abundance once nurtured with law would only cease temporarily when life challenges hit. It may cease in health and still keep the flow of cash into your accounts. Life challenges may throttle the flow of cash, and you may be as healthy as a golf ball. So all these do happen. And for a moment, you, me, may think, oh my God, what is going on? What is going on? Everything was great. And this just happened. You see, the first thing for you, me, to know is that ultimate consciousness shall push each soul, each being, never beyond their capacity, my capacity, your capacity to handle. But definitely, there must come conditions for new vista of opportunities to open up and for growth. No one, and again no one, had ever fully enjoyed uninterruptedly great health, free flow of money, love, care, peace, tranquility, time to study and love nature all the time. We have no one in history or currently living that never had one thing not go the way they expected. And no one would be able to do so. You see, you and me would die of boredom for sure. There will be no avenue for growth and for contrast. For example, if there is no hunger, then food would not be enjoyed or relished as we do now. if there was no thirst, then slaking our thirst would not be enjoyable. We wouldn't even want to. So it is these contrasts that spice up the everyday, mundane activities of life, which would have bored us to death. The greater the degree of contrast, the more expansion. Consequently, the higher the blissful state. To really relish life, it must come with contrast. No hunger, eating wouldn't be enjoyed. No thirst, no one would enjoy drinking water. No contrast in life's conditions, none would enjoy living for long. We would be so jaded, bored, we would opt living this plane, i.e. death to the physical body, because we would have no interest in living. I think whatever we all do, believe in or not, we all know one thing for sure: that life does not want anyone to plateau. Some unseen force seems to keep pushing us all up, no matter the level we get. And that can come in different ways. Words like strong intuition, and mostly, especially for men, we do not listen. Men have issues listening, most men, to their intuition as compared to women. They have developed this by listening to their inner intuition. So life keeps pushing us up, and they may come in the form of intuition, and mostly we do not listen to change course. And then we have to go through back-breaking challenges, which is needed for our advancement in our evolution. However, if and when these happen, once we have understood the law of opulence and have thereby nurtured our abundance using the law, our abundance shall flow by law constantly, as constant as the law of gravity. Like we all do know, wherever you, me, are on the planet, and in any time, it doesn't matter if it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 6 p.m., it works because it's a law. It's a universal law, well established. There may be, of course, some slight differences based on altitude and geographical location in terms of gravity, but those differences, as long as you are on the planet and not flying up, they are immaterial. Those differences are immaterial. They are only needed for calculations. So, the law of opulence, once studied and most importantly practiced, must help the flow of abundance into our lives. When adversity that can restrict or impede this flow, it shall only be temporarily. And at that time, we must be grateful to ultimate consciousness for the contrast which helps with the enjoyment and advancement in our spiritual evolution. However, as previously articulated, we cannot practice a law of the universe and stop. You, me, cannot think. Once knowing the law of gravity, there shall be some suspension in some location. We should not think that because the laws are pervasive and inflexibly impartial. All the 1,000 strong that are on subscription list on this channel, once you know these laws, you cannot go back. One thing we have realized all these years, all these decades, is that mental and spiritual laxity is what brings these life challenges. When we are so comfortable that life needs to push us to kind of bring us back to life. Even in these conditions, and most importantly in these conditions, we should continue to extend gratitude to ultimate consciousness. And that will be the most important thing to do to sustain our abundance that we're nurtured from the inflexible law of opulence thought on this channel. Elsewhere in the good old book, it goes, if you are grateful, I shall add more. What more do we need to explain that if we can acknowledge and be grateful for the abundance that's enjoyed at this moment, ultimate consciousness, God, Brahma, Allah, shall add more of the abundance to our lives. We all do know how extremely happy and the zeal to do more for our children, especially those who are most grateful for the things we do for them. We all do know how happy as parents we are to do this for our children. Similarly, with ultimate consciousness being the father and mother of all, in fact better and richer in love and care than any father can possibly be, our gratitude shall always sustain our connection with the intelligence behind creation, i.e., God, Allah, Brahma, whatever name you give to the one omnipotent, omniscient, Alpha and Omega, that brought all these into being. Our gratitude from every major religious book sustains our connection and all the abundance with him or her. So whether it's the Upanishads, whether the Bible, the Quran, the Tao Te Ching, all these great, insightful old books do encourage gratitude to God as a means for sustaining all the good things in our being. Included all the good things, which begins from our being, our bodies, and all that life has to offer for our positive evolution. So let us practice gratitude. And secondly, whenever there is an opportunity for giving, which we've talked about many times on this channel, we should give unstintingly to all, especially those who are closest and need them the most. Giving underlined or underscored here must be done with the spirit of opulence to our consciousness and not for show or status seeking, prestige or reward, or worse, to keep the receivers in bondage. We should never give anything with that intention. Again, we should not give for show or status seeking, prestige, or to keep the receivers in bondage. When we do this, it contravenes the law of opulence. We should give just as our nature, giving to ourselves. No one seeks reward from anyone when we do give or do good things for ourselves or family, because we are all one indivisible consciousness. So giving should be done with that mindset. And what we do to the other is long done unto us. So first is gratitude, and second is giving with the mindset of opulence to our consciousness and not seeking any reward in any form. In any form. The third thing to do after gratitude and giving is for you, for me, to acknowledge every day, an abundant life. Abundance should not only mean fat bank accounts, beautiful, large mansions, fast driving cars. No. Those are some forms of abundance, but secondary. The primary and most important for you and me is to cherish and see abundance in everything, mostly nature, in everything. First, beginning with yourself, myself. our physical bodies. You see, the ability to see things, the ability to relish the sunrise and sunset, the ability to smell the beautiful roses in your garden, the ability to enjoy your morning flavorful coffee, the ability to walk briskly with your own legs, we hope. Even the ability to read books. Reading books, knowledge gleaned by someone for many decades, and you could glean all those knowledge in a moment, is one of the most pleasurable activities to do. And it defines a great depth of life's abundance, especially for those who love reading. So we must acknowledge all these in our daily lives. We may be taking a bus to work, and if we wanted a car rather, that should not put you, me, in a mental state of ungratefulness. Soaking for a car instead of waiting for the bus with people you may feel or you may not feel comfortable with. We can promise you that if you give your attention to being grateful for all the things we have listed, a time shall come that car you wanted, if really needed for our positive evolution, must show up. And God had written this in almost every scriptural exposition, in almost every major religious book on the planet. It must show up. However, with all the things we have, if we are not grateful, conversely, then our chances of increasing our abundance may happen, but only arbitrarily. Only by chance and not by law. Only by chance. As previously articulated, we shall glean the best knowledge and narratives from every corner on the planet for the singular purpose of expanding your consciousness, folks, and my consciousness. We should train ourselves to acknowledge abundance upon waking. You see yourself, oh, I'm great. You look into the mirror and you are wonderfully made. Your kids are great. Your spouse is doing fantastic. We should acknowledge all this abundance of health. Everyone fully intact in their consciousness. Another opportunity to create whatever we so desire. If yesterday wasn't as great, we should acknowledge abundance in the miracle, the amazing and mind-boggling miracles of our bodies, with the unending flow of blood into veins and arteries and capillaries. The collective length of all these blood vessels can encircle the entire planet Earth. The length of all these blood vessels running through your muscles and every part of your body, if we should put them together, can encircle the entire planet Earth, longer than the circumference of our planet. The question is, if we do not see this miracle, if we do not see this abundance, then what more can we see as abundant? A mortar and brick and lumber with a roof as a mansion? No. Or a painted plastic metal with a motor as a car? Oh, folks. Oh, no. My body, your body, our nature, our being abides in abundance, and nothing outside our bodies is more abundant and miraculous than the amazing working machinery of our bodies. Nothing outside us is more miraculous and abundant than our own bodies. So let us inculcate that viscerally in ourselves, which must translate into our daily practice. And yes, there will be challenges, and they must come, and they are equally good as the good. They are equally good as the good. Challenges are equally good as the good things in our lives. Because as we've already talked about, in the absence of contrast, then life cannot be worth living for long. Life would not be worthy of living for long. Ultimate consciousness, the intelligence behind creation, no one can know any of his great wisdom until what he saw or she so allows. And even the nature around us, our own planet, science knows diddly squat, even about our own brain. An acquaintance, a good old friend, is a professor at the neuroscience department in a great college in Texas. And the last time I visited this great neuroscientist, one thing that stuck with me was that, and he never stopped talking about it, we do know nothing about the brain. We know nothing, nada about our brain. I have been researching brain for many decades, but we still know nothing about the supercomputer in our skull or between our ears. So the more contrast, the better we do become. So we do not even know enough of our own bodies. How more do we want to know everything about the intelligence that brought all these and many ad infinitum miraculous things that we can even see on our telescope? How more do we think we can know this knowledge? We don't even know enough about our own selves. How do we expect to encompass the knowledge of the intelligence behind creation? So the more contrast, the better we do become grateful when that obstacle or obstacles have been surmounted or skated. So again, let us all sustain abundance by training ourselves to see abundance not only on the material stuff around us, but everything, beginning our own being, our faculties, senses, eyes, brain, beautiful sense of smell, capacity, and the faculties to do so. We should acknowledge all these senses and beautiful, amazing, miraculous bodies we all do have before the secondary stuff like comfortable bed, homes, cars, amazing and impressive communication systems we have. Those are not as important as the primary abundance infused or built into our nature. If those secondary abundance exist, those that make life easier to live, if they do, we should acknowledge them as well. However, we should remember we are already abundant in our nature. Our being is already abundant, and acknowledgement can and must snowball into other areas. Again, if those things, those secondary abundance that we place so much importance on, neglecting our own miraculous and abundant bodies, those cars, homes, if they exist, we should and must acknowledge after the primary. However, if they do not exist, if the secondary things we think would ease our lives do not exist, let us train our minds to see the abundance that run through our lives, all given freely. Let us do that first. Abundance in nature, abundance in our bodies. And those material stuff, though may not so much be needed, they must show up in our lives if they are needed for our positive evolution. And they must come at the right time, and not sooner or later. Life must happen to kick you, me, sooner or later, but it must happen to move us out of our comfort zone, to challenge us to be better. Competition with ourselves drives personal evolution. The drive from the challenge is only there for us to appreciate life better and be more grateful, and nobody's challenge shall be greater than what their soul has the capacity for. And life must show a challenge at each stage of our journey or evolution. To do so, thus. To do so. And when they come, as they will, they must always do remember life is abundant. And with that thought known not only intellectually, but viscerally, we shall be able to turn conditions, be better, and the flow must resume more abundantly than before. Again, life happens to all of us, and it is very much needed. A challenge-free life would be so boring, you, me, wouldn't want to live for too long. The challenges are only there for us to appreciate life better and be more grateful at each stage of our journey, our evolution. When they come, as we all do know they must, we should never forget, we should remember life is abundant. And with that thought known viscerally, we should always move every important knowledge from intellectual appreciation to visual practice, to emotional, to our emotions, to practice them in our daily lives. When we do so thus, we shall be able to turn conditions, we shall be better, and the flow of abundance must resume more abundantly than before. Once again, this was the greatest discourse on sustaining abundance. And remember to nurture, to build your abundance, my abundance, from the law of opulence. It must be sustained with gratitude. First, we should give instinctively, and we should acknowledge the flow of abundance from our being through nature to the material stuff that make life easier. God bless you, your family, and the planet. We shall see you all very soon.